And I'm actually quite excited for the D&D movie. I don't really know much about D&D lore. I've never been super into it. But I watched the trailer with the family the other day, and they're all excited to see it.
It looks like a romp.
Looks like a fun time.
I'm curious. I don't have the highest hopes, but I imagine that means we'll come out of it and be like, huh.
Yeah, it's not going to be greatest movie of all time or anything, is it? But it'd be nice to watch a fantasy romp that isn't shit. What do you reckon the hit rate of fantasy TV and films of they're very rarely okay. They're usually either good or bad. Not a lot of middle ground. And I'd say 70 or more, maybe 80% of them are bad.
But I think we're kind of fancy nerds.
Yes.
And so probably hold it to a higher standard.
Yes.
Than a lot of other people.
That's true.
Those shows like the Merlin show and Camelot or things like that. I was just hate it. Absolute garbage.
I didn't even watch it. I did watch The Kid Who Would Be King with the boy the other day.
Which is a Would Be King.
Yeah, it's it was a real small British movie. And it's kind of what if King Arthur happened again, but to a kid at school? And
this looks like it should be on fucking CBBC.
I was watching it with the boy, and he was super into it because it's aimed at him. It's not for me; it's for him. And it wasn't terrible. I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it was great, but it was better than it had any right to be, considering what it is.
Who's the bad guy? Does he ever fucking stab someone with his sword?
No, it's a woman who's famous. Whose name I've forgotten.
Mordred.
Yeah, she's Morgana.
Morgana.
So the lore is King Arthur beats her in King Arthur times.
Right.
And she's an evil demon. Yeah, Rebecca Ferguson, that was it. And she so she goes back to the underworld and is I'll be back. And King Arthur's yeah, well, so will the sword. I'm gonna if you ever return, the sword will come back and pick a new worthy champion to defeat you.
Okay, Demolition Man style.
Bam. And so 2,000 years later, she comes back, and then the kid gets the sword.
Does he chop her and then she turns to light and
he chops her fucking head off and throws her into a whirlpool?
Wow,
it's pretty grisly. But all of her minions are Dark Souls, flaming skeleton knights.
Ooh.
So the kids can fuck them up.
Oh yeah, he can stab those every day of the week.
Exactly. There's no moral issues at all.
Sure.
And the kid is Andy Serkis's kid, which was, once I realised that, it was really distracting.
Okay. So he was definitely hired for his acting ability then.
Oh yeah, no nepotism at all. Although I feel with a child actor, you kind of, for them to have any chance of being a good child actor, you basically need someone to have raised them from a young age to do that.
To get them sort of involved.
Turns out Andy Serkis was just mocapping the kid.
Oh my god, the whole time! He was mocap. He doesn't actually have a child. Yeah. He's just been mocapping. Wow.
He's been playing the long con.
Okay, right, I love that. That's
he's going to do his whole bloodline will in fact just be Andy Serkis.
Oh
That's how he's going to live forever, Tom.
Wow, so he's going to do a Being John Malkovich, but he's going to mocap as the kid. As the kid grows up, he's going to get into mocap and then mocap again.
Or maybe it'll be the other way around. Yeah, his whole family will always mocap as Andy Serkis.
Oh, so he keeps...
So he'll be immortal through his family.
That makes more sense.
Reverse it. Way more sense.
Okay. Wow. Right. Sure. I don't think I'm going to watch it.
No, I'm not. I wouldn't tell you to. It's definitely a kid's film for kids.
I watched something the other day. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of The Rig?
The Rig?
It's on Prime. It had a really cool trailer. The Rig. And I would say it's basically, The Mist.
Okay.
Stephen King's The Mist.
Yeah, that was all right.
Imagine that with a bit of Cthulhu on an oil rig.
Ooh, okay.
Sounds rad, right?
It sounds like a good premise, but based on these posters, I'm going to say they've squandered that premise somewhat with a low budget and like just real bad actors.
Well, I would say this was one of the worst things I think I've seen in years.
Wow, that's saying something because you watch a lot of shit stuff. If you don't mind me saying,
I watched a bunch of garbage, but
because you're looking for that hot zone of like not good, but not like we talked about the bell curve of horror movies before, didn't we?
But I think I can appreciate something that's kind of bad, especially when it comes to horror. But this was absolutely batshit insane, terrible.
Really,
just so bad.
3.2.
Oh, I think that's a different The Rig.
Oh.
Because I think The Rig that I watched had, it was like 5.9.
Oh, I thought these were the same movie.
No, this is The Rig.
Oh, it's a CGI rig. You can just so tell it's not a real set immediately, can't you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Game of Thrones.
There's weirdly 4 people from Game of Thrones in this.
Right.
But
she's very familiar. I can't remember what she's been in. Okay.
So that guy, which I saw this because I was looking at, I now like to, look on IMDb for, what are the bloopers and trivia. So that guy, he was Morian in Game of Thrones.
Who's Morian?
He was the bard who had his tongue cut out.
Oh, yeah, he sang the funny song.
He sang the funny song, but Joffrey didn't like it. No. And there was someone else. I honestly can't remember who the other person was because I was just like, oh, who knows?
It's really hard to take him as anyone but Jorah Mormont. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like he was pretty good. He was probably one of the best parts about this.
Okay. So this goes, it's a series, not a film.
It's a series.
And I'm not getting any kind of Cthulhu vibes right now.
I think it's one of the things I'd read was someone was like, it's The Mist meets Cthulhu.
Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
He's also
Alistair Thorne is in it, and there's a 4th person. I can't remember who.
Right.
Oh, fucking Robert Baratheon turns up.
Amazing.
It was like
that is so distracting.
Yeah.
It was like I don't think you saw it in the Eternals, like the Marvel film. It has Jon Snow and Robb Stark.
Oh.
And there's a third character that they're both in love with. It's a love triangle, and she's called Cersei. And just watching Rob and John talking about Cersei.
How much they love Cersei.
It's so fucking weird and distracting.
Yeah.
This is the trouble, isn't it? Because like, if we'd seen them in 3 or 4 different films,
it wouldn't be so bad, but a bunch of different people all interacting together.
And you've only seen all of them in one other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go.
How far into it did you get?
I finished it.
Oh wow! Even though it was the worst thing you've ever seen.
I had it on so there were parts I just had on the background, and just while I was fiddling around, but there is absolute bonkers logic. The characters are all over the place. It just is absolute insanity. I cannot.
Wow. God.
Describe how genuinely shit it was.
6,000 people beg to disagree with you here, Tom. It's number 9 on popularity. It's trending, man.
I think because it only came out
pretty
recently.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, because I'd seen the trailer for it before and I was like, that looks like something I'd watch.
Well, yeah, it sounds like a fun premise. Everyone bickering on an oil rig where, it's in a remote location where people got to make their own rules, right?
Yeah, almost instantly they're cut off from land and the radios have all gone down.
Great.
Then the fog comes in and people are all against each other. I was like, this sounds like a great premise.
Paranoia, and you could make something really good with that.
You slip in some... there's little flashes of weirdness going on. And there's lots of hints of there's something else happening. I was like, I'm in. Give it to me. And
Oh dear, then they did give it to you.
and it was just awful.
Shit.
Like just to set the tone of like just weird logic. Mm-hmm. Right at the beginning, the fogs come in. They're cut off from places, and they're like, "Okay, we've got to go check out this aerial." Everything's pretty normal, but there's a weird fog, and they're like, "Oh, it's pretty foggy." They send this guy up. He sees something weird up the top of this aerial, and then he ends up falling down, and they're like, "This guy's fucked."
Yeah.
And then you don't really like the other characters don't know this, but whatever he saw, like suddenly he starts like healing a little bit, and they were like, "This guy's about to die." But then he kind of like comes to, and then he's like, "Oh, I had a vision of like a giant wave. It's going to destroy us all." And then immediately everyone's just like, "Oh, he's had a vision about a giant wave. What are we going to do about this giant wave?" It's
Everyone
like,
just takes. Hey, he's just had a head injury.
yeah, why do you now
Are we believing in magic now?
the magic vision? Like, why do you all just instantly are like,
Guess we all believe it.
"We've got to," well, if he's had a vision. It's just like, why do they trust him? Like, why would you, if you just turned up and you're like, "A giant wave is going to destroy us," be like, what?
Okay,
What?
go back to sleep, friend.
Yeah, just what reference do you have? And it just gets worse and worse and worse.
I watched
from
something
there.
that had similar kind of vibes. Not quite as bad, but still not good. Called The Passage, which is... It's kind of like a Last of Us situation. It's not post-apocalyptic though. It's but I think it will become that. Basically, there's a research lab that has captured a vampire, and that picture's fucking hilarious. And so.
Wow, I'm pretty spooky scared.
He's gonna get you. So, what they're doing is they're getting the vampire's blood and they're altering it genetically, and then they're injecting people with it because they think like, oh, vampires can heal, right? And it's not a vampire. We're not calling them vampires because we're scientists,
Okay, sure.
and it's not a vampire. But it's got all the symptoms,
Right.
And so what we'll do is we'll fuck with it and change it, and then we'll inject it into like a death row patient, who like convict, who's like, do you want to die on death row, or do you want to have weird experimental like surgery on you? And they're always like, well, I guess I'll do the weird science is better than the fucking lethal injection. And it nearly works, and then they turn into a vampire. So they're like, okay, well, let's change it up again. And so they've got a basement full of vampires because they've done this like 8 times. And each time they're like, we've fixed it this time. They're not going to want human blood this time. But all the vampires are like psychically linked.
Sure, of course they are.
Because he's this little spooky boy. He's king of the vampires, right? He's patient 0, and so he's like telepathically controls them all. And so they send Saved by the Bell's Zach Morris is sent out to get her because she's immune. She's like the Last of Us.
Okay.
They've injected her, but she's not turning into a vampire. But he's like, oh, my daughter died, and now I have to look after my new daughter and stop her from getting weird scienced.
Wow.
So they're on the run from the scientists who will say anything but vampire to describe
Right.
the people they've got.
What do they call them?
Fuck. I think they start off calling them like, test subjects, patients, that kind of thing. But as things get spookier, because old Dr. Spooky here, you know how in Dracula there's like the weird servant who like eats his own fingernails and he does that to one of the janitors.
Oh.
Because for some reason their janitors are like the biggest security liabilities you've ever seen. Like they genuinely are like, they don't vet them because they're just janitors at this top secret research station.
Yeah, it's fine.
All the scientists have got like their, top secret clearance and follow all the security checks. But the janitors, fuck it. They're like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia kind of thing. So they're just like doing whatever they're told because they're kind of idiots. And the moment creepy vampires in their brain, They'll just do whatever he tells them.
Instantly fucking go mad. Right.
Oh yeah, I don't know. It's nearly good, but there's just so many bits where you're just like, oh, they've just done this for the plot contrivance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not super sold. This picture's funny though.
it's funny. I'm enjoying that. But yeah, it took me ages to realize he was Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, geez, I wouldn't have called that.
He looks very different now. So yeah, I don't know if I can recommend it, but I was into it until it got silly, and then once it got silly, I enjoyed laughing at it.
Okay.
Because everyone just started being fucking idiots at the end and like just letting things out of their like cages and like just being the stupidest people.
If you're doing this like kind of wacky research, instead of getting like a death row patient, why don't you get like a terminally ill person, someone who, if they end up getting vampire superpowers, might be pretty chill, might be a more reasonable person to have to deal with.
Yeah, that's a good point. Not just
of like
the worst people.
Yeah, not like, boom, you killed like 18 people with an axe. You're gonna be executed, but let's try it out on you.
Well, I think because it's super shady, so they want people that, you know, they just disappeared and no one's going to ask any questions, you know?
I think like, you know, but in turn, if you've got a terminally ill person and you take them away, you do the thing, if it doesn't work, like,
They died.
Look, we're going to have a funeral for them. Bonk. Problem solved.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
And you don't.
But they might then go and get their lawyers or family to like check the contract and stuff. Do you know what I mean? At least in the death row inmates, they're just like, come with us. Don't ask questions. Do you know what I mean?
I'd still maybe deal with a few legal issues and not have to worry about
the psychopath
Johnny,
vampires.
axe murderer, now with superpowers.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think you're onto something. You're already smarter than 90% of the characters. There's this one scene where, like, the government sends in a new guy to run the facility, and he's like, we've spent billions on this. It's time to turn some profit. I'm going to fire all the senior staff, and I'm in charge now, and I'm going to ignore what all the good characters say.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
You know, it's one of those kind of situations.
Yeah, just random company fucking spawned.
Yeah, government executive man here to just open all the doors.
Just fuck with it. Did you watch The Last of Us?
Not yet. Well, I didn't play the game. So I'm thinking I might, now that the series is out, I might actually just go and like speed run the game.
Yeah, because I think you can go through it pretty quickly. And yeah, like it's going to be taking, I don't know how many episodes The Last of Us is going to be. 10?
I don't know. Because it will take, 2 or 3 months before it's all out anyway.
Yeah.
If I speed run the game now, then binge the show. Because I don't like week by week anyway.
Yeah, it's always kind of like a pain.
Happy to wait.
It's 9. But yeah, I watched it yesterday.
Oh, is it good?
It was very good. I really, really enjoyed it.
Oh, wow.
Just shot beautifully. Was great. I played the game because I am a good boy. And yeah, thought it was good. Like, kind of hits the right tone, does the thing.
Is it just like shot for shot, or do they like twist it a bit, and do they change anything?
So it's been like a year. Like, I played it last year. From what I remember, pretty good, pretty spot on. They kind of trim out, you know, there's a bit at the beginning where they're clearly teaching you how to use a gun, and you shoot
you
like
don't need
20
to see
fucking
that.
people.
Yeah.
And they just kind of cut that bit out. They still get the plot points.
Imagine if a TV show based on a game forced you to sit through the boring snow-based tutorial level for half a season.
Oh, God.
Wouldn't that suck? The Witcher!
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I mean, you've got to cut out 90% of the shooting people from any like computer game adaptation, haven't you?
God, by the end of this, you probably kill 500 people.
It's hard to find those characters relatable after that.
Like, you'd kill more people than like fucking John Wick. And that's someone who is killing people all the time. Yeah, just wouldn't work. But no, I liked The Mandalorian, he was good. Lady Bear of Bear Island, she was pretty good.
Oh, is that her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
The other people,
Old Nick Offerman.
He's not in it yet, but he's
okay.
already he's going to turn up. The character that he's playing in it, I'm just like, he seems perfect for it. Like a wacky doomsday prepper who lives alone in the town and is just a fucking psychopath.
Oh wow! So just take the funnies out of his Parks and Rec character.
Yeah, and just have that guy just be a bit crazy.
Yeah.
But even in the game, that character was kind of funny because he's a bit
wacky.
A bit wacky.
Oh man.
But yeah, so really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was great. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, like I say, I literally bought the Last of Us last night.
Oh, nice.
So I'll play through it in the next few weeks and then catch up on the show.
Is that on PC?
No, I bought it on. I've got PlayStation 4.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's how I played it.
Bought the remastered one for that.
Ooh.
But it's out on PC next month.
Yeah, I saw.
Because I did look it up and I thought I don't want to wait a month because then it's too tight.
Yeah.
Get it done in time.
To actually get it done. Also, when it looking at the sort of just some of the behind the scenes stuff, saw that instead of the Mandalorian, other people that were considered, that didn't get the part were what's his name? Fucking Neo from the Matrix.
Oh wow.
No. Also Harrison Ford.
Oh, he's way too old.
Which seems crazy. That guy's
insane.
Like an old man now.
Yeah.
And to play the brother character, they were talking about potentially getting... God, I can't remember anyone's fucking name. Andy from Parks and Rec. Mario. Everyone's favourite Mario
Chris
voice.
Pratt.
Chris Pratt was potentially going to be in it.
Oh, God. Everyone would have got real upset if that happened.
What? Which just seems absolutely bonkers.
Wow.
So really glad.
Really? Wow. I mean, I already thought he looked great for the part, but compared to all those other people, he looks even better.
Yeah.
Holy shit. But it's so hard to know, isn't it? Because, I remember when they cast the guy from Teachers as The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And that seemed insane at the time.
Yeah.
But, man, he fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I've forgotten his name. Main cowboy.
Rick Grimes.
Yes, Cowboy Rick from Walking Dead. Do you remember him in Probably most people won't remember that. It's a real old show.
I remember. I remember him from...
It was like an old British sitcom. And he looked like a little baby-faced teacher boy who was like the naughty teacher who bunked off school.
Just a random, British guy. And having him as Rick Grimes was kind of wild.
And so I remember when they announced it, everyone was just like, you've already ruined this.
Yeah.
But
fucked it.
But no, they fucking nailed it. So I like that. I love it when they cast a relative unknown and they nail it.
Yeah.
Rather than just grabbing this guy. He's been in everything.
Yeah, which is great. Also, a bunch of the people in this are the people who were the voice actors for the characters in the games.
Oh, really?
Because a lot of their character models were just kind of roughly based on the person themselves. And so
awesome.
I think it was actually kind of rad to just drop them into...
Oh, brilliant. Because I always think voice actors, deserve a bit more recognition for what they do.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's very good. Marlene in particular. She did the voice. But maybe she was an actor before. I don't know. I don't really know much about them. But there's a couple of other people that, reprised their role as a thing. But yeah, play the game. Very cool.
Yeah, I'll get on it.
The story's great. I won't there were parts where you're like, okay, cool. I just got to go from point A to point B. And then a truck crashed there. And I guess now we have to go up through the spooky hotel. And
right.
Oh, sweet, we've just made it. All I need to do is cross this one rickety plank. No, I've fallen down into the sewers. Oh, shit.
Sewer level time.
Hour of sneaking through sewers to get out of here. And
right.
There's quite a few bits in the game where you're like...
That's true of most of those kind of games, though, right?
Just feels like super padding. But otherwise, very good.